Yeah, so here we go again. It's Sunday night, just come from film club. The camera was supposed to be off, but I guess the capacitor lasted that long. Been to film club. Come on, I killed your power. Why are you recording? Oh, looks like my camera switch died. Good news, I have replacements and it's not glued in. Amazing. Been to film club. Beside that, I didn't do nothing. I guess I did do something. I should stop denying myself. I did manage to have a shower, which was long overdue. Very happy to have had it. Was very necessary. Thus far today, I've had 3 CBD blunts and 7 cigarettes. I am completely out of tobacco, which is why I ended up buying a packet of cigarettes in Germany. Apparently is 25 for the price of €10, which make it 40 cents a piece, which is more than 6 cents more as to when I last bought cigarettes in Germany, which isn't that long ago. It's only a couple of years, It's surprising with these cigarette prices. The CBD stuff is actually rather viable, just because CBD blunt. I mean, yeah, you have papes cost money, filters cost money, and the CBD. I put approximately 1 gram in. So for future loads, I have placed an order of 200 grams. That'll be approximately €1 a pop, maybe €1.10. And these are 40 cents, which means it'll be less than 3 cigarettes. And I mean, I'm not happy to call it a perfect success because I did smoke a bit more, for example, Friday than I aspired to. I had 16 on Friday. But I'm still really rather happy with the overall result of my reduction in tobacco consumption. The only issue is I got a total of one CBD blunt remaining. It's actually not CBD, it's a CBG blunt. Therapy, high CBG therapy remaining, and then I'm out until that new delivery arrive. In future, I'll have to make sure I restock sooner. Just because I'm going to be smoking more tobacco, I highly suspect so. Good news is I have my graph, daily cigarette consumption and so on, which will tell me how much more I smoke. Because I believe some of the reduction in cigarettes, I've reduced it to approximately a third of the previous consumption. Some of the reduction must just be the mind thing, and some of it is having substituted tobacco with hemp. The thing is, due to the hemp smelling like it and looking like marijuana, it is still not appropriate in all contexts to be smoking it, particularly the professional context. Beside that, it's just about fine because the city we're in is Berlin. I am actually going to disconnect the camera because my kill switch for it is for some reason not working. That's not very nice. Got to remember to reconnect it later, I guess. And tomorrow I'll have a look at my kill switch, just because how bad could it be, Then again, I haven't soldered the wires to that, so they might just gotten shorted. Not good to know though. I should probably solder them. You can just run an extension cord to the soldering iron. To be fair, it could be operated by battery, but I don't got the batteries. I believe it take 4 or 5 cell lithium polymer batteries. So the regular model crafting ones. It even have the XT60 or 90 connector as an option. Came with the soldering irons. I guess the standard for the lipos. I've only ever seen it on those. Yeah, it's funny how that work. With Film Club, we've squared away all our debts. Film Club had owed me a bit of money because I fronted the rent a couple of weeks back. So I now got the dosh from that. I'm looking forward to spend a lot of dosh tomorrow and the coming days to have a service on the car done, the tyres and. I've looked into the tyres, and at least for my research, the ones I would like online, they are the heavy duty, right depth, right height, right rim. They cost approximately $120 a pop. They're rated up to 170 kph. I believe this car can only do more than 170 kph if it's downhill, with rear facing wind. So, you know, well, I guess front facing, depending on which way. Assistive wind, depending on which way you look at it. It'll always be assistive if it's in the same or similar vector as to the movement vector. The maximum I've done that way was 172 measured by GPS. These tyres would not be rated for that, but I don't think I'd be uncomfortable doing 172 on tyres rated for 170. The main characteristics I cared for was the aspect of bad weather performance, because I don't want to have to worry about a puddle and skidding and losing the back end or the front end or the car, you know. And for 120 bucks, one could get really quite decent tyres. Which, to be fair, 120 bucks is quite some money, but still, you know, considering the tyres from the past last at what, 50 grand? Not quite, 40 grand, I believe is roughly the ballpark of what my tyres are lasted me on this car so far. It's not that bad. I mean, if you break it down on a price per kilometre cost, it's next to nothing. Then again, a lot of next to nothing is still quite something. Funny how that works. Off to my cigarette of the day. Do not smoke, smoking kills. It's not healthy for you, it's not good for you in any way, size, shape or form. That being said, this is only my 8th of the day, and only is relative in that case, because there is people who do not smoke, so it would be the 8th too many for those people. But a week ago, my median was about 24 a day, and average as well, because I have enough data these days that the median and the average are basically aligned to the second decimal, I believe, so to the hundredths. For me is approximately a third my regular consumption currently. I suspect today I might go to 9 or 10, just because I did do the mistake of buying active cigarettes instead of tobacco. Then again, the tobacco I smoke is not available enough that one can just buy it at any petrol station, at any garage, you know. I do aim to get tobacco next time I go to my tea dealer, not a euphemism. Just because from theirs it's about a K to one of my preferred tobacconists. So I guess a funny way of putting it, but yeah, I'm snobby enough these days to have one of those. Funny how that works. Yeah, I got a tobacconist I go to, one I prefer over others. I haven't got a cobbler yet though. I'll have to sort that one day. I did look into it at some point in time, just because some of my shoes could do with a fresh up. Basically walked through, worn through. Crazy thing is, these days shoes are so produced in mass, many of them is not worth having maintained or maintained and having repaired, which is kind of sad. I think I'll want to try and get away from that kind of stuff. I mean, my summer safety shoes are certainly of the kind that are not to be maintained, but then again, new they cost 30 bucks. And it's not fair to expect a cobbler to repair something for less than that. So in the future, I might just not want to buy such cheap shit. Shit is, I believe, a fair assessment of the situation. I mean, they are legal and they aren't uncomfortable, but it's plastic, you know. Rather get leather ones. Problem with leather is not very breathable, so cloth in that case. I'm fairly confident you can actually make safety shoes out of cloth. You can make them out just about anything as long as they have the cap and the sole. I'm looking forward to and slightly concerned at the same time. I'm meeting the garage guy tomorrow. I mean, the person who've connected us have warned both of us about the other, apparently. So all I know at this time is they seemed really chill on the phone, which many people do not manage to. So I'm looking forward to meeting them. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They're dick, oh no. Got to go and look for another workshop guy. I highly suspect they won't be a dick though, because otherwise I wouldn't have had them referred. That's crazy if you think about it. I'm now at the point where after just about 2.5 and a bit years in this city, I'm connected up enough that I ask people for referrals and I can trust the referrals. I, for example, know which copy shop I'll have print and bind my thesis that I have yet to write, just based on referral, which is a funny way of thinking of it, I guess. But I'm fairly settled here to some degree, I guess. I don't have my own place. Well, I'm renting a flat, which is my own place, but it's not mine to modify. So I guess that could change. But yeah. On aspect of being settled, I'm starting to get to the point where my pants are wearing through and I really need to buy new pants. And even my trousers, which are a patchwork, I need to repatch. Just because they're starting to get a couple of holes in a couple of not so appropriate places. Good news is I believe I still have the strap material, the belt material, and I certainly have good black yarn and needles. Just take half an hour or so to patch them. That was faster than 30 kph. As I'm running out of hemp, or have run out of hemp, guess I won't be rolling blunts anytime today or tomorrow. So I might as well take the time I would have spent rolling blunts and patch my trousers. Then again, I have to also be productive. That being said, I did manage to read 2 of the sources I'd used for my expose for my thesis and read through them, and one of them certainly have a lot to contribute, like half it is relevant for my thesis. So I'll be citing that quite some. Yeah, I'll still have to look for more other sources, of course. That's just going to be a months-long project. I reckon in a month and a half, I should have all the sources I need. I did in my expose state, I'd look at some video art that is out there and see how applied physics were used in it without even perhaps being intended. And I have been wondering whether I should just use something like the demo reel of my supervisor, just because it'd be fun. It's certainly video art. No matter how I define video art, it will be that. And get brownie points, I guess, and there's something to work off of. I mean, it's not like I'm looking to be published, so as long as it satisfies supervisor and second examiner, it's all good. On the definition of video art, I've been wondering on how to define it, because theoretically, loud quad bike coming by, because theoretically I don't know where light art ends and video art starts. The thing I was at Friday, that is fairly close to video art, just because it's such a huge installment of light art, or mixed media art, I guess, that it feel almost like video. But I reckon at this time I got to narrow down my scope of my work, which means I'll probably do it exclusively video art and intend it as video art, so not light art, which means it's video that can be contained in video files and be mixed using video programs, not DMX, for the technology behind it, digital multiplex, that is, which is a standard for controlling lights. Then again, it's all rattling non-stop, cogs turning, you know, trying to figure this shit out, because I got to be writing, but to write I got to know what to write, and I have wondered where to start to write, but I'm not too fussed about it, because I'll just start somewhere. I have considered starting with the introduction, then I thought, wait, if I write the introduction now, I'll have to end up rewriting most of it. It might still be a good spot for starting off at, because I don't got to keep what I write now. It's just the start of the work. So with the introduction of the subject matter, I also want to define phenomena of applied physics and video art. I believe motif is clearly enough defined that I don't got to worry about it. I mean, I will state, for the sake of the word count and the page count, what the common definition is, and that this does apply. With video art and phenomena of applied physics, I feel they're too washy, too whiffy, to clearly expect people to know what I mean with them. just because video art can range from anything to anything. It can range from people doing videos on their TikToks. This could be video art. This is video art, strictly speaking, if you interpret it that way, you know. To cinema could be video art, but I kind of want to focus on video formats used in multimedia installations, I guess. I'm not sure yet. It's all, you know, figuring stuff out, which I guess is fun. Though I still have one blunt remaining, I think I won't smoke that tonight. I'll try and keep that for tomorrow because I've got about 3/4 an hour's drive from here to the workshop. I got to make sure I take enough cash. Then again, I don't expect them to be able to do work tomorrow because they don't even have parts. They don't know what vehicle this is. Just tyres will set me back $250 without labour, so $300 with labour, I'm guessing. Then again, $50 labour for $250 parts is next to nothing for labour, so I certainly don't mind paying for that kind of labour. Yeah, I'm hoping I'll get along with the guy. I'm choosing to want to get along with the guy, which mean I highly suspect I will get along with the guy because I believe I talked about this yesterday. I may not have. If so, I'm repeating myself perhaps. But on Friday at that artsy fartsy event, I actually hung around with mostly crew, I guess is the correct term for it, and in the closest thing to a backstage area you have with a stage volume. So by the mixing desks, not in the hut, but next to the hut. So that's where it was chill, where one could talk because it was a suboptimal position for sound projection, which is nice because it was bloody loud. To the point where I did use my Loop earbuds, not sponsored or affiliated, just like the product, to walk around the place a few times. Just because, surprise, I like my hearing, and I'd prefer not to be deaf by 30. I'd prefer never to be deaf, but, you know, one have also got to live life at some point in time, I guess. And there is things that are worth it, and a big installation with a fuck ton of people that dirty the sound, the reverb, isn't worth it for me. If there went no one there, I might have considered not using hearing protection. Odds are I still would have used some form, maybe a mellower form of hearing protection. Who knows? Funny how that worked, really. Film club today was surprisingly few people. Then again, many of the regular people for film club are currently out still shooting their thing, whatever it is. And several others actually, are out of the country and or have visitors from out of the country. So can't have a full room every night. Sold 12 drinks. So 12 drinks were bought. It's not like we sold them. The co-working space that host us sold them, but we facilitated the selling for them because we want the sums to add up in the end of the day. Weather's rather humid. Then again, time is 10 to 10 in the PM, and the temperature's 20 degrees centigrade, so it's actually rather warm. I'm looking forward for tomorrow, man. I guess I'm partially really looking forward to getting new tyres, which is not happening tomorrow, and the oil service. And assuming I like the guy, which I am going into the interaction wanting to like them, so it's very likely I will. I'll also have them do the wiring harness work for the diesel particulate filter pressure differential sensor. Blech. Just because I need it done. I think this car needs general inspection in like 3 months at the latest, if I'm not mistaken. Let me not show documents to not dox myself. Oh, never mind, this document doesn't show that anyways. Yeah, but I believe I got 3 months. And currently that is the one thing that would stop this car from passing a general inspection. And that not because it's actually a safety risk of any kind or an emissions risk. It's just the inspection computers can't tell it is not an emissions risk. I'm lucky in the way that this car here is a 2012 model year. So it was one of the last years before these cars got AdBlue injection for emission reduction, I guess, urea, basically. Modern cars appear to have only two kinds of issues, really, assuming they should pass the quality control and did so. Some pass that should not, I guess. But the two issues are electrical, which the diesel particulate filter pressure differential sensor is, and emissions, which I do not have because I don't have to worry about the AdBlue. Then again, that sensor also is theoretically emissions because the computers say I can't read the emissions. Bloody computers, electronics, there we go, Has actually got me to the point, though, where I think if I ever get to the position of buying a vehicle again, I'm not going to bother too much for the mileage as long as it was well serviced. I mean, yes, having heads changed or rehoning a block or flattening a block or heads or whatever all cost a load of money, but modern engines are so well engineered that it's next to no concern if they aren't totally abused. I mean, for example, with this car, I try and make an effort to not drive it brutally while it's cold. When it's warm, I'll hit the gas and drop the clutch in no time, because that's what they are made for. They are made for the worst user, and they last forever anyways. I guess it is abuse, but it's predicted abuse, and this car is not chip-tuned or so it have a lot of headway in terms of overhead, power management, injection, friction, air, cooling. It have plenty of overhead for that because it's not tuned or anything. I guess I don't 100% drop the clutch, but I do let it go rather quickly. Then again, that's what you need to do according to paragraph 3 number 2 and paragraph 1 number 2 of the German rules of the road, to not hinder people when the light is green. You should not be a hindrance, so you should accelerate as rapidly as you can. The latter is my interpretation. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. In the end of the day, you don't want to be the one people at lights have to honk their horn at or flash their lights or rev their engine or whatever people do. Because you missed the lights turned green because you're living in a different world. Admittedly, I have had that happen a few times. Long while ago and a couple of times this week in the same day. But those days happen, as long as it's not a frequent occurrence. And I mean, there is those drivers out there on the road behind whom you don't want to be stuck, because first off, they take forever to do whatever they do once the light turned green to get going, and then they don't even get going. Feel like they don't got an accelerator pedal, It's kind of a bummer to sit behind people like that. Then again, they got all the time in the world, and I guess that's good for them. Got to start the engine, batteries at 11.6 volts. That's too low for my liking. I'm considering looking in my flat for another one of the switches I got for the dash cam, just to be able to replace it should the switch be faulty. Odds are I won't do that for the moment because I don't plan on going to Switzerland or somewhere where you aren't allowed to have the cameras, so for now it can be permanently on, I guess. Nice. I've considered, but I haven't actually gotten into it, looking into what it takes to do DMX mapping using Blender among other software. I am kind of looking forward to figuring that out, because at my former place of internship, potential future place of work, when I've got equipment to play with, and I kind of want to figure out the back end to DMX playing, to playing with DMX, digital multiplex signal. Usually they use 5-pin XLR style connectors, or sometimes, very rarely, they do use a 3-pin XLR. Just kind of interested in how that works, you know. Not the physical bit, but the software behind it, because that show on Friday was hella amazing. You can go there. It's called Flow Midsummer or Summer Something, Summer Lights by Dark Matter. Highly recommend. It's in Berlin, Rummelsburg, right next to Sisyphus Club, I guess. Would recommend it, especially for the price. I didn't pay for it, disclosure. But the price of like $12 or whatever the ticket is online is worth it in my eyes. Then again, I'm not paying $12 because I didn't have to pay to get in. Funny how that works. And might be obvious that I'll state it anyways to be on the safe side. This is a mixed media light show installation. If you are hypersensitive, bring sunglasses, earplugs, whatever you need. There is flashy lights and there is a lot of sound. Surprise. Would still recommend though, assuming you know your limits and you can stick to them. Knowing the limits and sticking to them, that's I guess a good tangent. Purely hypothetical, of course, because why would I admit to breaking rules? It initially started as, I guess, an exercise of self-harm, which is not something I'm proud of saying, but I'm human. Live with it, deal with it. I'm now almost indifferent to the point where I'm making an effort to not do it, and I am mostly succeeding in those efforts, but there is momentary times at which I do it, which is going above the speed limit. Like, for me, is above the speed limit in a single digit range still, but it's kind of odd because it started as an exercise in self-harm, which obviously is not healthy. Then again, it is slightly accepted, if not even expected, in this case, just because what constitutes harm depends on the person, very much so, you know. I'm now almost indifferent to, almost desensitized. Like, the moment I see my GPS tachometer go more than 3 over, I still feel wrong, pain, for the sake of argument. Discussed on labelling it pain quite a while ago. You've got to watch your backlog. Thank you very much for watching, by the way. I feel kind of odd about that. Like, the moment I see it go to 64 instead of 63, because 63 is the hard limit I'm comfortable with, and there's not more than a couple of seconds that it's above that, but I don't hit the brakes immediately, which obviously one shouldn't in the first place, but one shouldn't hit the accelerator hard enough to get to 64, 65, 66. Like, that's speeding like a maniac. 66 is 10% over the 60 speed limit. It just feels wrong and painful, and the more I think about it, the more painful it becomes. But in this society, it's not liked to be seen that it is painful, which is, I guess, an odd thing, but hell, you know, that's how it is. I'm just going to open the glove compartment to get out the knife to see if I can pull the switch for the dash cam, because ADHD, man. Yeah, this is actually quite difficult. I think it's actually clipped in, and I've got neighbours across the road getting out their car, so I'll wait for them to be out of the way before I try messing around with the knife on my dash. I believe they're neighbours. I don't know for sure. I've seen the car a lot, so yeah. Artistically, I've kind of been in a dead spot just because I'm too concerned about facilitating my life and organising my life. It feels funny being in this kind of dead spot, I guess, but that's the way it is, and I don't got the energy to invest to change that for the moment, at least. So I'm just taking it the way it is. Always make sure to cut toward yourself, kids. There we go. Don't do it, by the way. That is /s sarcasm, just to be very clear. It's not healthy. If you cut toward yourself and you slip, you're cutting yourself. Don't be doing that. That's self-harm of a societally non-accepted kind. Whereas speeding is societally accepted, so yeah. Well, my connection's on here still fine, so I don't know why the camera was going off. Might as well try and show you. I don't know if we'll manage, but there we go. That's the switch, that's the hole, and that's where the switch lives. The connections on it still seem fine. I done a wind and crimp and shrinking tube kind of job, and I don't know why the camera was turning on. Now it seems fine, who knows? Oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna hope to get that sorted. I hope you have something you hope to get sorted as well. Or you have nothing you hope to get sorted because everything is sorted. I guess that's even better. Stay safe, I'll see you around. Cheerio.